Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Punjab Chemicals and Crop Protection Limited Q1 FY22 earnings call hosted by Emkay Global Financial Services. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Rohit Nagraj from Emkay Global Financial Services. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Malika, and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining on the call. We thank the management of Punjab Chemicals and Crop Protection for giving us the opportunity to host the maiden post-results quarterly conference call. Today we have with us the senior management team of the company, represented by Mr. Shalil Shroff, the Managing Director, Mr. Vinod Gupta, the Chief Executive Officer, and Dr. S. Sriram, the Chief Financial Officer. Without much ado, I hand over the call to Vinod sir for his initial remarks on the business and financial performance for the quarter gone by. Over to you, Vinod sir. Thank you.
Thanks and good afternoon, everybody. I welcome all the people who are present in this call. We also welcome you to this maiden conference call, and we will be presenting the first quarter results for the financial year 21-22. Before we begin, let's hope that everybody is safe, and like everybody, Punjab Chemicals also wants to appreciate the effort of COVID warriors, all the medical fraternity and the government who is basically making continuous efforts to keep all of us safe. And let's hope that third wave is avoided in some way. So before we begin on the quarterly results, let me also take this opportunity to introduce the company. Punjab Chemicals and Crop Protection Limited, it was established in 1975. And we started as a generic chemical company. And we are definitely proud about the journey that we have taken from being a generic chemical company to a leading CRAMS company, focused on agrochemical, mainly on agrochemical products, along with some specialty chemicals and pharma products. Over the last 4 decades, we have developed expertise in agrochemicals with a lot of in-house R&D and technical capabilities. Both our locations have their own independent pilot plants where we can do research on complex chemistries. We are proud to be associated with the global agrochemical giants like Adama, Kureha, Bayer, Nippon Kayaku, Corteva, UPL as our client base. And we are continuously engaged with them, not only to enhance the volume of specialty chemicals that we supply to them right now, but also around the new molecules they are developing. So a lot of our projects are joint effort project in developing a molecule. It may be a new molecule or it may be a molecule which is going off patent. Punjab Chemical has the advantage basically both in domestic and international market, and we also have strong positions on several registrations. And that's what we are trying to take advantage of to expand and grow our company. Fortunately for agrochemical industry, this is one of the few industries which were not affected, or rather not majorly affected because of pandemic. And we are witnessing a significant improvement in the demand and also a shift in global supply chain, which is favorable to India. And a lot of companies are looking at alternate sourcing destination, and they are coming to India, and we are taking benefit of this, and we are strengthening our position to take more benefit of this drive that is taking place. For the FY21, we reported highest ever EBITDA in last 10 years. Also, we have been very focused on deleveraging our balance sheet, and we reduced our long-term debt by 13.1 crores in 2021. Continuing with the robust performance of FY21, our Q1 FY22 performance is also robust, and I'm happy to just narrate a few numbers here. On year-to-year basis, our revenue has increased to 60% from 132.2 crores to 211 crores. Of course, last year in Q1 there was a short period impact of about 15 days or so because of COVID. So that definitely a fortnight impact was there in last year's revenue. Growth margin was slightly lower from 43.7% to 41.4%. EBITDA has grown from 22.1 crores to 36.9 crores, and EBITDA margin has grown up from 16.7% to 17.5%. PAT has also doubled, or rather more than doubled, from 11.2 crores to 24.3 crores, and PAT margin has improved from 8.5% to 11.5%. Now, this particular performance has definitely motivated the Punjab Chemical management and the team to continue this performance, and we continue to maintain and we continue to remain focused on growth. At the same time, because we are in an agrochemical space where we operate, we do a lot of hazardous operation and safety is topmost priority. We continue to focus on highest standard of safety and hygiene in our manufacturing facilities. Also, another point that I want to announce is about 90% of our staff is already vaccinated with at least one dose of vaccine, and remaining staff we are planning to cover in next fortnight or so. So we will have more close to 100% both employees and contractor staff vaccinated in at least with one dose in next 1 week. Already 90% is done. So obviously we thank everybody in our growth journey, which includes our employees, customers, suppliers, everybody, and now we are open to Q&A, and thanks for your patience, Saving.
So shall we start with the question and answer session?
Yes, I think we can start with Q&A.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Pritesh Chheda from Lucky Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, sir. Sir, wanted to understand how is the progress over 1500 crore revenue target that we have and the brands order book that we are running. And nearby we had this one product from Kayaku and Singapore company which was supposed to generate additional business in FY22. So what is the progress there, and what is the revenue expectation now you have for 22 and 23?
So Vinod, you are taking that question or shall I answer?
No, you can answer, and then I have one more question, sir.
Let me answer. So I think our order book, which is close to 1500, is based on our long-term agreement with all the leading suppliers. We have a multiple year agreement, and most of these agreements are automatically renewed unless and until one of them decides to exit. But the products that we are in, and there is a lot of stickiness, mainly because of the registration challenges, which generally is a long gestation activity. So that's where, if we add up all our contracts, which is running to close to 1500 crores, that's the visibility we already have. Regarding the two specific products you asked, both the products have been commercialized. On the first product with Nippon Kayaku, we have already started commercial shipments, and the production is still under stabilization with respect to yield and all, but regular shipments have started. Regarding the second product, our projection to this year top line, because this product generally goes in the second half of the financial year, So we will start selling of these products from H2, and we are expecting about 80 to 90 crores addition to the top line. I think that was what was your third question?
I was asking for the revenue expectation for 22 and 23 company level. So if 90 crores is what you're mentioning for the second product, then Kyaku product, what kind of top line should we expect?
We will have, 25 crores in the first year, and then gradually it will increase.
Sorry, your line is not actually clear.
Okay.
You mentioned how much?
So in current year, because we have started a little late, we'll start with about 25 crores in this year, but then gradually it will increase in the coming subsequent years.
So 25 and 90, so about 110, 120 crore extra top line.
120 to 120 in this financial year, and followed by next year, I think it will be much higher.
So is 800 crore type revenue for 22 doable, and 23, what will be your thoughts there?
So, Vinod, can I just take that?
Sure, Shalil.
Yeah. So, hi guys, Shalil here. So, yeah, you're right. If you see our first quarter, we are already at 200. So, if we take from the second, third, fourth, plan it's to do a little bit more than 800, but a couple of challenges in terms of shipments, getting proper containers, etc. Having said, to answer, yes, as Vinod said, order book position is in place. Few delays because of the second COVID cycle, but as on date, we are pretty optimistic that the way the vision of Punjab looks, we are going to be beyond 800 for this financial year. Okay.
And sir, on the margin side, there is improvement which we see both on the gross and the EBITDA, and we are at about 16-17% now. We were earlier at about 13-14. So, any comments on the margin side and its sustainability, and how is the raw material, if any, moving adversely or beneficially for us?
So I think in a couple of calls we have always told you that we have long-term contracts that we discuss very openly with the customer. So raw material is an issue which is always an auto check on a quarterly basis. But yes, having said that, with shipments, as I just mentioned a couple of seconds back, is a challenge. So we expect with the product mix, and if everything goes well, we believe we will continue the same momentum as our Q1.
Okay. And my last question is on your expansion.
But I would request you to rejoin the queue for follow-up.
No problem. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Ohri from Progressive Shares. Please go ahead.
Hi, Shalil. Thank you for arranging the call. I have two questions before I call back in the queue. This question is from the annual report, which mentions that there is an industrial chemical division in Pune. So can you help us with what is the current capacity of that unit, and what is the current capacity utilization?
Yeah, so basically, as Vinod did mention, we are into agrochemicals, specialty chemicals, and the phosphorus or the industrial division falls into that. So we are into this phosphate, but this acid is of a higher grade, which goes in pharmaceutical and, for example, beverage manufacturers like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Okay. So at the moment, we are at around 75% of our capacity. Over the last 2 years, we have been also focusing to export this product, not only, sell domestically, but also look at international players. So going forward, we have already put in a plan where we will be doing an expansion with the capacity as on today to take it to at least half of what we do right now in the next close to around 6 to 8 months from now.
So at the peak capacity, you can do around 70 odd crores from this unit?
This unit, for this year, we would do around 50 plus, but if everything goes well, next year we should do double, 100.
And apart from this expansion, are you going for any expansion in Lalru?
Yeah. So, as Vinod said, and we have been discussing with you guys all the time, I mean, we have a big opportunity, and, this is just phase one of where we are. We are on autopilot, I would say that. So at the moment, yeah, we are looking at new sites. We are looking at new avenues to grow. And our Lalu site also has land. But at the moment, the way we are discussing with more and more customers, more and more people coming in, we expect, to come out at an appropriate time and inform you all guys. But we are already on phase 2 to look at new opportunities, especially with the new site, yeah.
Okay, my second question is, Shalil, by when do you think Punjab will be a debt-free company?
So, as you know that Punjab, over the last couple of years or maybe more, maybe 8-10 years, we have gone through a roller coaster, and we have been pretty lucky because our product portfolio is very strong with very strong registrations and very strong customer base. So as on date, we have, Shriram, what is our...
We are around 80 crores of lines given by the banks.
So basically, if you see, it's a credit line basically for our export and other aspects. So going forward, we don't see that we would increase this, but maybe to a taper end, maybe between 15 to 20% in the next 1 or 2 years would go down. But there would be some lines, such as LC facilities, post-credit facilities, etc., would continue. Yeah.
So is it fair to assume in 8 quarters or so you will become debt-free?
That's our plan.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I'll fall back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, would request you to rejoin the queue. The next question is from the line of Thomas Priju from Alchemy Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you. At the outset, congrats for an excellent quarterly performance.
Thank you.
What I wanted to get a sense from you all is a bigger picture over the next 3 to 5 years, because in your space in CRAMS, be it in the agrochemical or specialty side, beyond the traditional markets of US and Europe, markets like Japan and Korea also opening up for India. So from a strategic perspective, how are you building the management bandwidth, the employee strength, the R&D, and what's your broad vision for the company, and how do you see the changes happening over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, so thanks for the compliments. And yeah, I mean, as you rightly mentioned, the business is a big ocean. I mean, today with the opportunity coming into India is very high. And within few customers who we are discussing, they also have a robust plan to outsource. So what is the vision? The vision of Punjab Chemical is to be a good supply chain to corporates, very good corporates, like few of the customers who we are working and few of the new customers who we are discussing with. So on a regular basis, there are products which we are already supplying. With that, with the same customer, we are also looking in the next 1 to 3 to 5 years, what are the products you are looking at. I give you an example for just one company, which is Magsaysay Magan. Magsaysay Magan is a $5.2 billion company. And, if you take 60%, you're looking at close to $3.5 billion worth of raw materials which they buy. Obviously, they will not buy everything from us, but the relationship between Punjab and Adama has been for more than 20 years, and we are growing. So we are not only working with them for the Indian part, but also working with them globally. So over the years, what we have done is their R&D team, our R&D team is already are always in constant touch to see what are the opportunities we can grow product by product. So taking that bandwidth with just one customer, so we believe that today, Punjab, this year we should be around 800 plus. In the next 3 to 5 years, the way we are looking with our customer base, the way we have interacted with our suppliers and they are happy with what we do, we believe we can at least grow anywhere between 2.5 to 3,000 plus crore company in the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah.
Thanks, and all the best for the future.
And I think one very quick question you asked for management. So just to give a brief that, Mr. Vinod Gupta has joined it as a CEO. He comes with tremendous load of experience, and with him we have also taken the second line. So as far as the management, we are always in a mode to have new talent, new people coming in, taking the best technology available and the best talent available. So that will be always there, and as and when there are changes, there are things, we'll definitely keep all you guys informed. Yeah.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press star 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Akshay Satija from Alpha Invesco. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity and congratulations on great set of numbers. Sir, if I look at EBITDA margins for last 2-3 quarters, it's mainly been varying due to gross margins. If you could give us some insights on your key raw materials, maybe 1 or 2 raw materials which are really important and that drive that gross margin number for us.
Yeah, thank you for this question. So basically, first of all, I would say that, you don't measure us on a quarter-to-quarter basis because the product mix in various quarters are different, number one. Second is, we have certain products like for Metamitron, we have HH, which is a very important raw material for us. So, but we have a kind of a long-term contract with the supplier, which we keep getting it from, Europe and Japan. And in addition to that, what we have done is we have now put in a plant where we are going to distill the lower purity hydrogen hydrate, which we will be able to use it. So these are the factors which we are trying to put in place so that our cost of material comes down and we have a better margin. So similarly, we have other products, where we are working with various Indian customers. We have some 30% of our overall raw material comes from China, but we are working with various other Indian manufacturers. So basically, to supplement the requirement from other countries. So these are the areas we are working on, so that our overall material cost comes down and we have a better margin.
Just to add, to bring in more broader perspective. So whenever we look at a product as a company in Punjab, we have a very clear philosophy. We always look at our raw material because raw material is very important. Also, please understand is that when we supply an active ingredient, the final product, we talk to companies like Syngenta, Corteva, Adama, UPL. They're big companies. They put in a lot of money in their registration. So it is even important for us. So we have a dedicated team at Punjab who works on how we can get out, I wouldn't say get out, but how we can simplify to manufacture these raw materials within India and have alternate sources. So by and large, to answer your question, yes, raw material has been a challenge for everybody, but which is globally. But by and large, foresee if there is something which goes out of the box, we always sit with the customers because this is part of our contract to take it forward. Yeah.
Got it, sir. Thank you so much. That's it from my side.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press star 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Ashish Thavkar from Motilal Oswal Asset Management Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Sir, any update on the Lalru facility which was back in production in Feb 2021? Is this facility now fully online?
I'm sorry, your voice is echoing. I could not hear your question properly.
It's better?
Your voice is echoing. I don't know why. Maybe because even I am talking, my voice suddenly started echoing.
Yeah, I'm also getting the same echo from your side. So probably I'll just try to re-log in.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Jagwani from PGIM India Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. So, you alluded to 1,500 crore revenue before. So as of now, in terms of a capacity, what kind of capacity would we need to get there? And what's the utilization currently on this capacity?
So, as we already mentioned that we have the order book position in place.
Right.
At the moment, between the three sites, at the moment we are at around 80% of our utilization. Again, it goes from a product mix point of view. And we believe to achieve the existing target, which is in the next 2 years, we have the bandwidth. Maybe there would be a little bit of some minor adjustments or, fine-tuning these equipment. That would absolutely suffice for us to achieve the target, yeah.
Okay. And what will be our capex for the next 2 years?
So, two aspects. One is that, we have an ongoing capex, and as you know that with the performance, we also have a very good cash flow coming in. So, we believe in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll need, as far as, updating the facility and maybe putting on few blocks, anywhere between 50 to 75 CR.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jyoti Vardhan Jaipuria from Valentis Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Shalil. A great set of numbers. So, one question which I had was, if you look at the last few years, the margins are always highest in the June quarter, and then progressively they come down during the year. So, is there any seasonality element in the June quarter which helps margins?
So I think, once again, thanks for the, for the numbers. But it's product mix, which sometimes gives this. But moving forward, in the last 2 years, we have seen our quarter one has always been better. In fact, the last year quarter was a little bit because of the pandemic, and we could not operate for almost half the month. But moving forward, generally, our third quarter is a little quiet. So it's generally the 1, 2, and then the fourth comes in. It again depends on the product mix, but nowadays the biggest challenge is, with the shipment. So we hope and pray that everything goes well for this coming financial year. Yeah.
Okay. Because I guess, like earlier you were thinking more like you'll do EBITDA margins of around 15%, but we've done 17 in this quarter. So you think 17 is sustainable, or should we think of it more as 15% type of margins on a very full year, next few years sort of time frame?
Yeah. So, our aim, our way is to, ensure that we do this 17% which we have projected in the first quarter, and this continues. Me and my team, we have looked at it, and it looks quite okay. Again, with product mix and with maybe some products getting maybe delayed on a quarterly number, so that's why we always request, please don't look us more in depth on the quarterly, more look it on a 6 monthly, and then therefore. So at the moment, we are pretty confident that we should be between that 16-17 range. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chetan Phalke from Alpha Invesco. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity and congratulations for a great set of numbers. Sir, in our annual report, we are talking about renewing our relationships with Indian formulators and build a stronger base in the Indian market. So are we planning to diversify, getting into pharma APIs or any other related products or any other chemistries?
No, so, as I put my statement, what is the vision of Punjab Chemicals? Punjab Chemicals' vision is to be a strategic supply chain to many companies, globally as well as local companies. So what has happened is that this opportunity also we are trying to work with 3 or 4 big formulated companies where we supply them the AI, the active ingredient. which becomes a very strong partnership. We try and rope in on a long-term basis than a short-term basis. So for example, over the years, we have now cultivated many companies, and you will see in the next couple of quarters as well as next year that our domestic sales towards AI will also grow. Two is, as you know, that we have also into specialty chemicals. So we are already supplying to companies like Mylan, Laurus, Divi's. So with them also we are looking at what we can do in terms of advanced intermediates, not the final API, the advanced intermediates. Really what happens here, for these companies, we become a very suitable partner because we are not in APIs, we are more into agro. As far as regulatory and product manufacturing, also advanced intermediates we can make and we can supply to them. So this becomes a good added bonus. Like we are already supplying one of our advanced intermediates to Laurus, and we are always in touch with their team how we can grow this portfolio. So you would see in the next, I wouldn't say this year, but within the next 2 years, a lot of this part of business of ours also growing, which also converts into a long term. Please understand, in registration, whether it's a pharma or an agro, it is very important that the manufacturer, like if it is Punjab Chemical, we become part of their DMF or part of their tox package. So, on a long run, it's a win-win situation. It becomes much better for both the companies to understand. And again, it's a long-term business vision which we look, to grow into different products, along with their product range.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Harin. Just one more question. How many of our molecules are fetching us more than 100 crores of revenue as on date, and how many can get into that 100 crore plus revenue side going forward? I mean, because I understand there are some 5-6 molecules under pipeline. So how many of them can get bigger? Just trying to understand.
Yeah. So just to answer that, see, our phase one was, as you know, that we had not a very strong balance sheet. So obviously, when we discuss with customer, our molecules go between 5 to 10 to maybe 20 crores in terms. But over the last 3 years, we have drawn that in phase two to go beyond 100, 200 to 300 crores. So at the moment, I mean, we have 5 or 6 products which are over 100 crores in terms of volume. There are few products which are under that banner and which have a potential to grow. As you know that in agro we need registration, there are a couple of regulatories, so we are already in touch with them, and we expect that this also in the next 2 to 3 years, as and when the registration comes in, because these are again in countries like America, Latin America, which is a fast growing ag market. So there sometimes the registration process takes time.
Sure. I have one more question, but should I get back in the queue or can I ask again?
I think you can.
Okay. Yeah. So 30% of our revenue is coming via innovative molecules. So how much of this is from UPL? And going forward, as we plan to increase this 30% to a higher percentage, is it fair to assume that incremental growth will come X of UPL and from other customers?
Yeah, I mean, to tell you that, UPL always also looks at supply chain. I mean, go for example, UPL has bought Arysta. I mean, there is so much of raw materials which they would like. But, moving forward, as I said, with Adama, with UPL, with Nippon Kayaku, like for example, Nippon Kayaku is a huge company. Their ag-owned business is close to around 2.8 or 2.9 billion dollars. And today the product which we do is not even $15 million. So moving forward, it gives us a good opportunity, because please understand with the Japanese or many customers, when they already have a relationship with a supply chain, they don't want to put all their eggs in the basket, but they want that there should be certain products where they believe Punjab has a good capability, and that they would work with us. So moving forward, not only talking about UPL, yes, UPL is an important customer, Adama is an important customer. So having that, even as one we talk to Nippon Soda, we talk to Hudugaya, we talk to Syngenta, Corteva, SMC. So many companies are looking, like for example, even Biocrop Science. We did some business, we have some small business for around 2 years. There was a little quiet, but suddenly we have started again discussing and looking at avenues how we can, complement each other and grow this business on a longer run. Yeah.
Okay. So whenever we hit the planned revenue run rate of 1,500 odd crores, what percentage of our revenue will be via innovative molecules?
So innovative right now, as I said, we have 4 products which are the brands belong to these. Out of them, 3 are the Japanese. And moving forward, we are in discussion, but it's all very confidential. So I'm very sorry, I will not be able to name the customer nor name what product, because but as and when it comes, we'll definitely be more than happy to share it with you. Once everything is streamlined, get the customer on board, they are also happy that we can tell our good investors that this is the way we are moving forward. Yeah.
Okay.
So apologies for that. Yeah.
No. Basically, I was just trying to understand the gross margin profile. I mean, should we assume higher gross margins than what they are today, or they will be as they are? That's what I was trying to understand.
Yeah. So I mean, taking the industrial companies like TI or UPL or companies, just to name few of them. So this is where we want to grow. I mean, we are now more stronger. We have a better system in place. We have good people where we are trying to cut corners. So it's not only from the plant operation point of view, raw material procurement, but even sitting with the customer and trying to see what type of complex chemistry we are working on. So based on that, we believe that in the next 2 years, we are also intending to take this EBITDA from 16, 17 to maybe between 18 to 20. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press star 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Rohit Ohri from Progressive Shares. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the follow-up. This is more of a kind of a contingent liability which we have, which is from the annual report, somewhere around 76 odd crores, which the authorities are claiming after 13 years or so. So is Punjab sure that this will not have any material impact on the company's financial position?
Yeah, I think you have a very keen observation on our balance sheet, and thank you very much for that. And we are also shocked to get that kind of a notice. Actually, what the authorities have missed is what is the advance tax already paid by us. It's already paid, and there is no liability coming on our head. So, I mean, we need to again go in for appeal and get this rectified, and hopefully we will be able to do this quickly.
Okay, sir. That was the only clarification I needed. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, and basically you can also see that auditors have seen this, and that's the reason they have put as contingent, because assessment order has come like that. That's the reason they have put as a contingent. But if you look at it very fairly, this is not likely to impact our balance sheet in any way.
Yes, so they came back after 12 or 13 years. So the concern and the clarification. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Money from hook or crook.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. But let's be very, we like Mr. Modi. He's a good guy.
Sorry, you delete that statement.
Yes, sir. He is. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manish Mahawar from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Yes, Sharil and the team. Good afternoon and congratulations for good set of numbers. Just a small clarification in terms of a capex number. I think so. You said around 50 to 75 crores in the next 2 to 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is just I wanted to confirm, this is our contribution or also what I understood, like customer will also contribute to some extent the capex. So this is our contribution or this is also including the customer contribution as well?
No, this is only Punjab.
Punjab. And what could be the customer basically contributing maybe over the next 2 to 3 years if possible? Because I believe, I think the total number will be capitalized to the balance sheet instead of our contribution.
Yeah, basically what you're looking at, at least 50%, I mean, depending on customer, it can be ranging of 50 to 60% being contributed by the customer. Basically, this gives the emphasis that, they are also equally keen on developing the molecule with us and, we de-risk our investment. So these are the two areas, they will be able to help us out, and also it gives us a strong cash flow position as far as, our investment is concerned. So we look at around 50 to 60% of contribution from the customer, but all depends on the various products and how the contract negotiation takes place. So it can vary product by product.
Okay, so including basically customer contribution, it should be in the range of around maybe 125 to 150 crore over the next 2 to 3 years, including that their contribution.
Exactly.
Okay, and second one, in terms of EBITDA margin, just wanted to clarify. This year you are expecting around maybe 17 to 18% EBITDA margin, which we did in the 1Q, and over the longer term, we wanted to have a number of around 19 to 20% EBITDA margin. That's right?
I mean, as I did mention that, we have a product mix and there are certain challenges with, it's not the challenge with the business, but it's challenge with the shipment. So don't take us on a quarterly number. But Manish, yeah, I mean, going forward, as I said, for this year, we will be between that 16 to 17%. That's where we are looking at. And post 22, 23, we should be in that 18-20 bracket, yeah.
Bracket. Okay, sure, Shailesh, thanks, and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Karthikeyan from Suyash Advisors. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Just wanted to understand how you see the contribution of Metamethron and Metoconazole for this year and going forward, in percentage terms as a part of revenue.
See, both these products are very strong. I mean, we work with the companies who have, like, for example, Metoconazole is an innovative product. It is belonging to Japanese, and this is growing molecules in terms of different mixes. So yeah, I mean, at today where we stand with the tonnage, this has a potential to grow within the next 2 to 3 years, depending on the registration, revaluation within the EU, can bring in a top line of anywhere between 150 to 200 crore additional sales. As far as Metamethron is concerned, again, it's two companies, which is Adama and UPL, who control the international shores, and we are suppliers to both of them. So we believe, I think on Metamethron, we could see an upswing, not much, but anywhere between 5 to 10% than what we are doing, because we are already close to 60% to 70% of the market demand is being produced by us, and the balance 40%, is they buy it from other sources, because they always need two sources to balance their buying power from different customers. Yeah.
Right. So these wouldn't be profit dragging for you, right? I'm just trying to understand from that point.
No, I mean, I would put it that they would be definitely on the top line as well as margin wise. I mean, I would not like to name one product, but there is this one product which we are already making, and today the market size is more than 3,000 tons, and we are hardly there. So I mean, and this is also a high-based AI. It's close to around 45 plus $US a kilo, and it's only Punjab who makes it, and we have a very good backwardly integrated. So so there are products other than Metamethron and Metoconazole which also have potential. But again, as I said, the mixtures with the registrations to fall in place within EU, Latin America, US. So we are working with the customers, and we have a vision where, in the next 2 to 3 years, if this comes in, this is an additional sales which will be generated out of this product. So I'm just naming, but there are a couple of products, so one is that we grow with the new businesses, the new opportunities, and one is within the existing product, what we can do.
Sure. So really the context for the question is this. So when you talk about product mix determining profitability in a particular quarter, I'm just trying to understand if there is a long tail somewhere in the portfolio that bothers you, because then, the future business becomes even more critical. Or is it just that the contract structure is such that you are unable to pass on these cost spikes immediately, and therefore there's a temporary lag between, before the prices catch up with the cost? So that is really what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, so you have nailed it absolutely right. See, what happens is when it's a long-term contract, in the last 2-3 years, raw material prices have gone crazy, and if you look at it, it's not very practical. So, today to sustain that business, over the years, you and your principal, or if it is Adama, for example, you're working with them, so you also have to balance your equation. It should not happen that the product gets so costly that, the farmers or the end consumer does not buy it. So it's always a give and take. So you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a phase, and we believe, I think the rectification should come in, because nowadays you like, for example, ocean freight. I mean, it's ridiculous. A 20-foot container has gone 3 times the price. I mean, that's never happened in at least my 30-35 years of experience in this business. But so I know that this is a phase, and maybe a year or 2 years down the line. So same is with the products, the raw materials and the final goods.
Sure. Thanks very much for clarifying. Very best wishes, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Alisha Mahawla from Envision Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon, and thank you for taking my question. My question is also on similar lines to what the earlier participant was asking. It is on margins. So our aspiration for margin improvement from where we were, say, until last year to what we are aiming for 21 to be at 16-17% and going forward to improve it further. Are we just expecting this margin improvement on the back of higher contribution from our contract manufacturing business, or is it like you were mentioning, older contracts now will be renewed at better margins, or incrementally most of our products will offer better margins? So if you could help us understand what will be the key driver for this margin improvement that we're talking about.
I think I would say it's a mix of everything, because when we have a contract on a year-to-year basis, other than the raw material cost, we also look at the variable cost and your margins. So it's a mix of all the three. Yeah. So I mean, it's partly from a contract manufacturing, partly is from our regular sales of products, which we do, which depending on how the bandwidth of the inflation happens within the countries, the same way we take it forward. Yeah.
Sure. And so just wanted to clarify this 1,500 crore revenue target that we have. Do we expect it to achieve it by FY24?
I mean, at the moment, as I said, we are very, very confident, but, there are so many things. Second wave, nobody knew that it would hit so badly. But what has really happened is that, when I say the second wave, it's not impacted, but the ocean freight, there are so many challenges, certain raw materials not coming in. So I hope in the next 2 years, nothing such, again, makes us derail. But I would say, at the moment, with the order book position, we as a company, we are 100% ready to, to launch this. As I said, we are on autopilot. Everything is ready, but maybe, with some ups and downs, could be a little bit here and there, but we won't be that away from the target what we have said. Other than there's a force majeure. Yeah.
Understood. And sorry, just coming back to the margins, just a clarification. So are we saying in our long-term contracts, is there a clause for pass on in case of increase of raw material, or only in case it's substantial, or if it is maybe, to the tune of 5-8%, then we have to absorb it? And when the contract gets renewed eventually in a couple of years, that is when we adjust it? Or can we pass it on with 1-2 quarter lag?
Yeah, so what happens is it's on a quarter-to-quarter basis. So obviously on that quarter, if we have decided, we don't change it, but we go back to the next quarter. And yeah, we don't look at 1 to 3%, but anything beyond that is definitely looked at it. And also please understand, all these products which are under contract are all high value. They are about $20, $30, $40, $50 a kilo. Yeah. So we have to look at it, because then the RMC also, if it is anywhere between 58 to 62%, depends. Yeah. So.
Sure. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashish Thavkar from Motilal Oswal Asset Management Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Sir, I just needed an update on this Lalru facility. Just wanted to know whether this facility is fully online now.
Yeah, it was online. So, I mean, I didn't understand why your question came from online. Yeah, we manufacture there. We have production running. Everything is fair. Only, which I mentioned, that in Lalru we have some spare land, so we have some opportunity to, expand there. That's what, or if I'm missing something, yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought that this facility was refurbished completely, so that's the reason I was asking if it's online for production.
No, we have been using this facility for quite some time, and new facilities, when we see new facilities, any new product comes in, we expand, put a new dock and start using that. So it's a running operation,
Okay. And what would be our capacity utilizations currently at a gross level?
Around 80%.
80%. Okay. Okay. And we can go up to 90%. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, we can always go ahead, but normally in a chemical operation, what happens is, we don't try to operate full capacity 100%. We have some buffer capacity. In case the customer needs additional volume, then we are ready to deliver, and always we keep 10 to 15 extra with us.
Okay. And Salil, when you say that 4 to 5 years horizon from 800 crore plus revenues to 3,000 crore plus revenues, so when we have that kind of a strong visibility, would it be possible for you, at least in percentage terms, to let us know what would be the incremental revenues that might come from this CRAMS contract?
I mean, as you know, close to, it would be approximately 55 to 60% would be from CRAMS contract.
Okay. And currently that number might be pretty low, right?
Right now we would be at maybe around 45-50.
Okay, percentage, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, this is very helpful. And just one last question. So last time we were talking about this upcoming contract with an Indian manufacturer. Would it be possible to name the name of that molecule? Would it be the generic of Coragen, or?
As I said, with due apology, sometimes products are confidential. Many people don't like to discuss. So yeah, it's again, I could only say it's a specialty product, and we are already started, the production, and everything is going well.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, please, don't focus us more on product names, because every company has their own, not only with Punjab, but we also have an arrangement with our principals or our customer. We cannot, really, so apology here.
Yeah, no issues. This is very helpful. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Nagraj from Emkay Global Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity and congrats on good Q1 numbers. So my question is on the R&D front. So currently, how are we placed in terms of our overall R&D? And second thing being, you also mentioned about our focus on pharma intermediates. So how are the resources divided between agrochemicals and pharma intermediates? And what is the pipeline that we are looking at? So if you could just give a more color about the entire R&D initiative, it would be really helpful. Thank you, sir.
I'll just, make a statement, and then maybe Vinod can add up. So, as I said, our R&D, we already, we work with the existing customers. What are the new projects which we are doing? So we work jointly, partly at our R&D, partly at their R&D. it does not only restrict to AI, but also, as I said, advanced intermediates like, for example, somebody had asked me and a couple of minutes back, I said we talked with companies like Laurus, Divi's, and what we can do in terms of supply. I mean, there is also some projects which we do with, Daiichi Sankyo, with pharma companies in the US, for example, Abbott. What can we see? Is there some opportunity we could look at? But we would, as far as API concerned, Punjab, we would prefer to stick more as an advanced intermediate supplier than look at an API. Having said, in the agro sector, we look more as an AI, and also because sometimes for registration purpose, maybe sometimes we make that intermediate, we give it to them, and then in phase 1, phase 2, as the registrations comes in, we take it forward. But anything, Vinod, on the R&D side, if you want to, fill it up. Vinod, anything on R&D you want to fill up, or did we lose them? Yeah, so anyway, I think maybe because of some line connection, but yeah, I mean, as I did mention that this is where we stand. Yeah, I mean, as you know, in his statement, opening remarks, he said we have 2 main plants in northern part of India, and both of them are a full R&D. We have with the mini pilot plant to up to 500 kg pilot plant. Each facility, we have PhDs, we have a team of chemists. So between both the plants, we would be between 60 to 70%, 70 people in terms of strength in both the factories. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that. So just one added question to this. On the AI front, so advanced intermediates for pharma, do we need any regulatory approvals for our manufacturing facilities, or we are fair with the current set of approvals and registrations? Thank you.
Yeah, as far as advanced intermediates, I mean, there is not much which we need as far as any European guidelines, but yeah, we need to follow a proper practice the way the raw material inward outward, which we do for all. But with whomever so far we have been supplying these advanced intermediates on the pharma side, they have audited our plant and they're pretty happy and satisfied because they also on a periodical level, maybe for the last 2 years people have not come in because of the pandemic, but otherwise we have regular audits, not only from the advanced intermediates, but even from the AI suppliers.
Thank you so much and best of luck, sir.
MK team, so just wanted to share with you our Chandigarh office has been muted. They are not able to talk.
Sure, no worries, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you unmute them, please?
Yes, sir. I've unmuted the line.
Sure. Okay, I think this question on R&D, though, I think later on Shalil sort of took up. But we already have a good R&D team, and at the same time, looking at the requirement that we are seeing from our customers, we are augmenting our team. We are recruiting fresh resources, and also at the same time, we are also tying up with few experts in the market who can help us in commercialization of product faster. So that investment will continue, as Shalil has already said.
Got it, sir. Thank you for the answer and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pratik Chaudhary from Samarthya Capital. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. We are almost targeting doubling of our revenues over the next 2 to 3 years. And we also mentioned that our incremental investment in our capex would be around about 70 to 80 odd crore. So if you could please explain how, because usually we have seen in the industry that asset turnover is usually in the range of 4 to 5x max. So, and here we are talking about upwards of maybe 8x. So are there further investments that we would announce in times to come, or and even for the longer term 3 to 5 year target that we spoke about, 2,500 to 3,000 crore top line target. So if you could please give some additional information on what are the investments or what is the CapEx that we would have to spend to achieve these revenues.
Yeah, so let's break this into two parts. One is that today where we are and where we want to grow within the existing facilities we have. So that's where we said from Punjab side and the customer side. I think Manish had asked that question and I clarified to him it was anywhere between 120 to 130 crores which would require, to go beyond 1500 in terms of top line. And as far as your question number two, that we are, as we said, that we are looking at a newer place, a newer capacity enhancement, which the team are working on. And as and when we firm up something, we'll keep you posted on what is that amount which would be required to grow from where we are to a 3,000 plus crore.
Thank you. I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
So, thanks guys for your time and questions. And we are, as already told, we are on a firm footing. I think with the customer base we have and the way we are moving forward. And as and when, if there is something, we'll definitely keep you informed. But please feel free anytime, anything required. Me, Vinod, Sriram, Bishan are more than happy to answer your question, even if it's a one-to-one basis. And we thank MK for organizing this. Vinod, if you have some closing remarks.
Thanks everybody for the time today. And we will definitely try to be on the course that we have charted out for ourselves, and obviously we'll make sure that more and more visibility is given to our plans to the investors to get more confidence in future.
Yeah, what I want to add is most of the information what we have given is very forward-looking statement, and you need to look at it from your perspective. And as Punjab team, what we are sure is we want to be very transparent as far as our audited results are there, and we have a very good auditors like KPMG with us, and we are also strengthening our internal audit team. In addition to that, what I would like to tell you is what we have shared with you today, we would like to achieve it, and with that, thank you very much for all your presence.
Thank you. On behalf of Emkay Global Financial Services, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.
Thank you.